tips is I look at the business and sharing, perspective, if you will. And again, whether it was Jim Covert way back in the day giving me a chance to be the president of SecurityLink, or any of the fine number of people that I've been working with since then, these are things that I'm happy to share. You'll see most of the stuff is what I consider basic, easy to follow, easy to grasp, and easy for me to wrap my head around. But all of us trying to run the business and grow. Growing business is a healthy business. How do you bring? If you're not growing, you're shrinking, and of course nobody's looking for that. So the easiest way to do it, of course, retain the existing customers. You've got a recurring revenue base. What are we going to do to make sure we're not giving them a reason to leave? I like to say, listen, people don't wake up hoping to call, their provider that day, and it's not, it's not something that people get excited about doing. It's like you're not going to argue with your spouse or your partner about, hey, which one of us gets to call the electronic alarm guys today. It's something that's probably an inconvenience when you have to do it. So what are you doing to make that, instead of an inconvenience, make it a pleasant experience for that customer? And obviously, the smaller you are, the more personal it gets, because if it's just me and working with my brothers and my dad, we knew the customers. One of us actually put the system in, so we knew exactly what we were talking about. You get a little bigger, and you don't have that benefit of actually knowing every customer. So hey, what can you bring to bear to make sure that customer feels, hey, wow, I enjoy dealing with these folks? Because I always believe that every opportunity is a chance to say, wow, that was a great company to deal with, versus it's kind of neutral, or well, those people really don't get it at all. Some of the measurements I've always used over the time, DQ is something we call, it's an account receivable metric, and look very closely at anybody whose bill who goes outside of 90 days. Like the day it goes after 91, I kind of count that as a canceled account. Happy customers are paying customers, so obviously that's an easy one to look for. Your customer attrition and knowing how much RMR and how many unit counts you're losing, obviously an easy way to keep track of the business. For us, it's an RMR business, and that's kind of how we look at it. When you look at your service, understand how many people are waiting for service at the beginning of each day. If I've got the ability to do 50 service calls and I've got 300 people in my queue when the day starts, I know I'm not going to deliver at the level that customers would want. Ideally, I'd like to be able to answer the phone and let the customer pick when my technician comes, so that it's the most convenient for them. And, of course, we've seen the appetite from our customers for later services, for weekend services, for off hours, as we would have traditionally said. So what am I doing, to help meet that? And then, of course, the speed of answers, kind of a hallmark to the way we've always done it, whether it was way back with Dad's company. A live person would always answer the phone. And, when we're out there pitching these systems and talking to people, if you're thinking of my company or another company, hey, a quick phone call to that company and see if they're answering with a live person, if you can get somebody in 1 and 2 rings versus getting put into a series of prompts. The customer understands that. I mean, anybody could answer the phone if they wanted to, if they chose to, but, it's a cost savings move to use the robot or the prompts to answer it. But if they're actually calling and there's something tense going on, or it's an actual something that's an emergency situation, we want to be there when the customer wants us. So speed of delivery, of course, is important, but if you're going to talk speed of delivery, you got to talk quality delivery. And how are you measuring that, inside your organization? And whether that's a first call resolution, when we're on the phone and when we hang up, there's nothing left to do. I have resolved whatever you needed. Whether I have to dispatch a technician out there, if the tech comes, good chance you don't want the tech to have to come back. Are we able to resolve the call the first time? Does the right tech show up with the right knowledge, with the right equipment in his or his car or truck to take care of things, or do we indeed have to come back down the road? And then the last is just like, hey, how does technology help me out in servicing my customers better? And the easiest way to look at it is, when you call, do I know who you are, when the phone rings? And I say, it's Mr. Smith. Hey, good morning, Mr. Smith. Tim at ADT. How you doing this morning? Or am I starting a conversation with, it's Tim from ADT. Who am I talking to? Give me your name. Give me your address. Give me your phone number. And then start giving me a description of the problem that you're having. As opposed to, I get the phone number pops up, I know who you are, and I feed that into the back end of the computer, and then the computer actually pulls up your front page summary. So I know that, have you had any false alarms? Have you had a service tech out recently? Have you is the bill current? Have we had any communications with you via mail, so I'm getting a summary of the account while I'm seeing you call me. And if I see the alarm went off at, during the night last night and you're calling, I can say, hey, it's Tim at ADT, Mr. Smith. I see the alarm went off last night. Is everything working the way it's supposed to be? And all I'm trying to do is personalize that conversation with you. So again, it's me talking to you, and what is it I can do to serve your account the way you need it served? Because again, I don't think anybody wakes up thinking about switching their provider. And if they do have an issue that we need to solve, just take care of it, and take care of it quickly, promptly, and to the customer satisfaction. And you end up having a healthy business. Because what's frustrating in our business is if you do go down the route where you kind of subsidize the upfront portion of installation revenue by charging, by putting it into the monthly fee, you're out of pocket, when you bring a new account on. And, you want your new sales to count toward growth as opposed to, hey, just replacing the accounts that I've already lost. And it's a key portion as we go forward. Let's just say the easiest way to grow these businesses is simply keep more of the customers that you have. So front and center to me starts with the service delivery, starts with taking care of the customer, starts with measuring, whether you use a NPS score, customer session index, or whatever measurements you have in place. It's just important, hey, we're looking at, hey, how do our customers think we're doing? It doesn't matter what I think we're doing. It matters to me, how do the customers feel we're responding to them? And, when you got so many employees, making sure that you're teaching the techs, making sure that you're teaching the call centers, hey, this is the kind of experience the customers want. And last thing I'll share on the topic is this. I think for the most part, the technician job from an installation perspective in the consumer side of the business, I think it's more of a customer service role, than it's ever been. Way back when I was doing it, it was kind of more of an art. You were hiding wires, concealing wires in home. I might be in the home 2, 3, 4 days, depending on the size of the system, to put it in. As you've seen technology move toward more and more wireless, it's not that a customer couldn't do it themselves. It's A, do they have the time or the inclination, and B, you're more efficient. It's what I do every day. This is what, I put these in. I know how they work quickly, so you're paying for the convenience of me to do it. But it's also about the end of it, teaching you how the app works, teaching you how to interface with your system. It used to be you just go to a keypad on the wall, turn your code, tell you how to turn it on, tell you how to turn it off, might teach you how to bypass a zone. It was really kind of a quick conversation, and it didn't matter if I had great personal skills or not, as long as I was out there with you and can, kind of share it with you. You're like, hey, I couldn't have done that without the tech. Whereas now I feel like, the consumer does have a choice, and the differentiator is the experience I leave the customer with. So instead of being able to carry, big ladders and a bunch of tools now, I think the main skill set is much more customer-facing, customer service skills, and being able to explain, how things work, through an app-based discussion with the customers.